Alright guys, so we're back staring at my garage, and I guess we're really doing this. So you guys gave a lot of support to my last video that I kind of did on a whim. I knew it was something that I was interested in, but I wasn't sure if other people would find it interesting, so I figured I would just try it and create this B58 digest series. And you guys showed a whole lot of support, so I really do appreciate everybody that commented, liked, subscribed, everything. It gave me the motivation I needed to kind of take this more seriously because I wasn't really sure where it was going to go. Just it was kind of an idea that I had. So thanks for that. And we will definitely keep making more of these videos moving into the future. I don't know how often I'll upload or, what the topics will be. Obviously, I'm just going to try to do it on an as needed basis. So when things come out or big updates and developments happen, I'll share that with you guys on the channel. So yeah, definitely a big thanks to everyone again, and let's keep going. So the first thing that I want to touch on are the Dragy records. And I mentioned it in the last video, but I also commented that people are going to continue getting faster. And of course, between the time that I filmed the video and I uploaded it, or like it actually went live to Instagram, the record had already been broken again. And if you guys don't realize it already, I filmed these videos in advance. So I scheduled them a couple days out just because it's easier to manage on YouTube. But between the time of me filming the video and it going live on YouTube, One Stock F30 re-broke his record. So a little while after he posted that 5.0 60 to 130 slip, he posted a 4.9 60 to 130, which made him the first B58 to run a 4-second 60 to 130. So that was a really big deal because, again, that's just a crazy amount of acceleration and speed, especially coming out of, a four-door sedan. But a little while after that, out of nowhere, Wrench Studios came and posted their Dragy times, and they ran a 4.6-second 60 to 130 run, and that actually translated to a 3.9-second 100 to 200 kilometer per hour Dragy slip. So that's just insane. Now they are the first B58 to run in the threes in the 100 to 200. The video that they posted showed that they did have to dial it back a little bit. You can even see in the Dragy slip that the G's go up as they get towards like 120 and 150 kilometers per hour. They're probably starting a gear lower just to keep traction because I'm sure in like a lower gear that car spins all the way up to 150. So definitely a fast car, very capable setup. Unfortunately, they aren't sharing a lot of information about it, but I will give you the information that they did provide, as well as some of the stuff that we're kind of guessing, to try to fill in the blanks. But they're calling it the WS1000 setup. So this isn't like an off-the-shelf turbo kit. It's one that they built in-house. We believe it's using a Zonal rotor turbo, and then all of the hot parts and everything that's attached to the turbo are custom in-house. So charge pipe, manifold, downpipe. It's tuned by HC Performance, which for those of you that don't know, HC Performance is Halim's shop. So Halim is the main tuner for the off-the-shelf maps at Pro Tuning Freaks. And then it's running on an ethanol mix, so it says E20 fuel, but the assumption is that the other 80% is race gas, not pump gas. The nice thing about race gas is it helps extend your fuel system because it basically has the same demand as you would have for regular pump gas, and it doesn't put like the extra strain on your fuel system that ethanol does, but it still has really high timing. Most people don't use it because it's so expensive, but mixing that with your E85 will make a world of difference in your performance numbers. Then they also have port meth injection, and they're saying that this isn't the Williams performance kit, so again, it's their own spacer that, assuming they made in-house and fitted onto the car and then tuned themselves. It does have a built bottom end, they're saying pistons and rods, and then it also has a modified transmission, but they are calling it a Wrench Stage 1 gearbox, so not an off-the-shelf trans either, something else that they custom did in-house. They're not sharing a lot of information because they feel like it gives them a competitive edge over the competition, and if they put all of the details out there, then other people can just copy it and reach similar numbers. So that doesn't really help us out a lot as far as just understanding why the car is able to be so much faster than everybody else, but it is what it is. It's their business, so they can manage it how they want. Hopefully in the future, as more and more people get faster and faster, getting into the fall, we're going to start seeing more and more records being broken, and maybe they'll share a little bit more information about the setup. But yeah, B58s are flying, especially for an engine that people thought wouldn't be tunable about 3 years ago. Now it's setting some crazy times and records. Now the next latest news is really big, and it's related to unlocking the DME on the later model BMWs. So for those of you that don't know, if your BMW has a build date after July of 2021, then the DME is unlocked and not able to be unlocked and flashed like earlier model B58s and earlier model BMWs. So that means a lot of the later generation 6-port Supras, the M340i's, all the S58 cars, X3Ms, the new M3 and M4, a lot of those cars are locked out of the factory and we are not able to flash tunes. Also, we're finding that there was a software update provided by BMW. So even if you do have an earlier generation, 340i or 440i, if you went and got a software update after July, there was a good chance that it would lock your DME and prevent you from flashing your maps onto the car. This is a really big risk because let's say, you have a custom turbo setup, running an ethanol mix or whatever it might be, and you bring it into the dealer for some service. It might not even be for warranty. You're willing to pay for them to replace components, do an oil change, whatever the case may be. But if in the process of them servicing your car, they flash the latest software update, when you get the car back, it'll be on the stock tune and you will not be able to flash your off-the-shelf map or custom tune back onto the car. So that is a really big risk for people that have modified their cars and nobody wants to bring their car to a dealership anymore, just in case it might prevent them from flashing the tune on their car again. Now let's talk about unlocking really quick, just because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about how all of this works. The way that it was explained to me was to think about if you have an iPhone. You know that your iPhone is protected because you have a passcode on the front. So you put in your passcode if you want to be able to access your phone, and nobody else that doesn't have your passcode should be able to access it and see, your private information. But let's say your phone gets wiped or reset or you forget your password, whatever the case may be, you might want to be able to access your phone without having the password. And I know back in the day, there were a lot of bugs and people were finding workarounds to get into your phone. For example, there might be something that you can access from the lock screen, like your phone app. You can get into that without unlocking your phone. And then maybe you go to like the settings and you select add a contact and do a certain sequence of presses until you get to a point where you can hit the home button and it takes you right to the home screen without unlocking your phone. Now this is good for you as the end user because you're making sure that you can access your phone when you need to and do what you want with it. But if Apple hears about that, they're going to see it as a big security risk. So they're going to send out a software update that patches it and fixes it so that you can't get into your phone that way again. And that's basically what's happening with BMW and tuners. I know a lot of us like to think that it's a battle between tuners and BMW and they're preventing us from tuning our vehicles, but that's really not the case. When they're making their software, that is their intellectual property on there. They're spending millions and millions of dollars to develop the software that meets emissions requirements, reliability requirements, their performance targets. All of that goes into their tuning. And they want to protect that so that no other company can just log into the DME and copy what they're doing. So that's the primary requirement and reason why they put the strong encryption on their DME. Now, when they see tuning companies, that's one thing, but there's also a potential that they could have other hackers or people that want to harm their business being able to access the DME and do whatever they want with that software. So when BMW sees that the capability to access the DME tables has been found, they're going to patch that. Basically, what they're saying is that a software engineer made a mistake and left a loophole where you're able to access those tables without having the encryption key and the security requirements to be able to access that properly. That's why when you unlock your car or you flash a tune, you hear all these bells going off and you hear stuff priming and moving and gears turning. It's because you're going through that button sequence to get access into the DME. And then when you do what you need to do, you back out of it and put everything back to how it was. All the tuners are doing is trying to find a loophole or a mistake or a gap that BMW left that allows them to navigate into the DME, update the tuning tables, and then get more power out of the car. Now, the good news is that Mission Performance has finally found a way to do that. And they posted that on Bimmer Post that they're able to tune the DMEs, access the tables, change different settings and things like that. And they posted a video as well on YouTube. I'll list that down in the description. And they're just showing as an example that they're able to modify the numbers on the sports displays. And they show the VINs and everything over and over just to double and triple confirm that it's a late model BMW that would normally be locked. So this is great news because at least at this point, we know that the capability to unlock the DME is there. There's some method or workaround where you can access the tables that you want to access from a tuning standpoint. But unfortunately, Mission Performance is basically in the same boat as BMW. They want to protect their intellectual property. Their fear is that a tuning company will try to basically take the software, try to do it, reverse engineer it, and then just copy it for their own use. So they're trying to find a way to encrypt the unlock strategy that they developed or that they found. And once they do that, then they'll release it to the public so that different people can flash their tunes. Again, I get it. They're a performance shop. This is their business, and they want to be able to protect their investment. They also spent countless dollars bricking DMEs and breaking stuff, fixing stuff, just to find this method that they determined to work. But it is unfortunate because that means we're still going to have to wait a little bit longer. So it's definitely good news as far as knowing that the capability is out there. I'm not sure how much longer we'll have to wait for it to come to the public, but there are basically two different things that could happen. One is they find a way to encrypt it so that way they feel protected in sharing it with the public. They'll pretty much have a monopoly at that point. Anybody that wants a flash tune will have to go to Mission Performance, but at least the capability's there. And the other option is if another company comes out with their own method, then Mission Performance said they'll release theirs because that limits the impact on them. They don't feel like somebody else will steal from them because there are other options out there to do the same thing. So we'll see how this goes. You know, it's definitely promising. It's unfortunate that we have to wait still, but it does just show that the rest of this year is going to be great. A lot of these cars are going to see a lot of improvements coming into this fall, and especially over winter. I expect to see a lot of turbo options, tuning options, bolt-ons, all of that come out for these cars, so that next year in 2022, we'll start seeing some crazy records being set. So yeah, those are the big updates that I have for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and enjoy the content. Again, a big thanks to everybody that's been supporting so far, and also thanks to all the partners that are supporting my build. They're all listed down in the description, so if you're looking for any performance modifications, you want to modify the interior, exterior, get some dyno time, whatever that might be, check out the guys in the description. They're the guys that support me, and the more that you support them, the more they support the channel. So thanks to everyone for watching, and if you have any other questions or comments or topics you want me to discuss, leave them down below.